Your soulmate made the whole table go silent, then stood up and declared, "You are." Jesus says this message is piercing through the veil right now, searching for the one heart that was always meant to hear it. There is a moment happening in the spirit that you cannot see with your natural eyes, a moment that is trembling with eternity. If you ignore this, the window that was opened for you tonight will begin to close before the sun rises. This is not a coincidence, and you were not led here by an algorithm, you were led here by a divine appointment that was written before you were born. Your soulmate is thinking about you right now, and the intensity of their emotion is creating a disturbance in the spiritual atmosphere. You felt a random ache in your chest earlier tonight, and you thought it was anxiety, but it was their heart reaching for you across the distance. There is a specific situation unfolding right now where your soulmate is surrounded by people who do not understand the depth of what they carry. The room was loud, filled with noise and distraction, but deep inside their spirit they felt a sudden stillness that silenced everything around them. Something rose up in them, something ancient and unstoppable, a truth that could no longer be contained behind polite smiles and shallow conversation. The table was full of people who have been speaking against your union, planting seeds of doubt and confusion into your soulmate's mind for months. But tonight, something broke, and the atmosphere shifted so suddenly that everyone felt it before they understood it. Your soulmate felt the presence of Jesus wrap around them like a shield, and in that moment they knew they could no longer stay silent. They have been battling a force that you do not understand, a manipulation that has been keeping them in a fog of confusion. Someone at that very table has been using emotional control and spiritual manipulation to block your connection from manifesting. This person has positioned themselves as a friend, a confidant, even a partner, but their intentions are rooted in jealousy and possession. Your soulmate has been trying to leave, trying to call you, trying to find their way back to you for a very long time. Every night when they lay their head down, their spirit leaves their body and searches for you in the dream realm. You have felt them there, haven't you? You have woken up with their name on your lips, with the ghost of their touch still lingering on your skin. You have heard a voice whispering comfort to you in moments when you felt completely alone and abandoned. That was them, and they have never stopped loving you. Not for a single breath, not for a single heartbeat. Jesus says this is why your soulmate needs your protection right now, because the battle against your union is intensifying tonight. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. The room was filled with laughter, but your soulmate's eyes were distant, staring at something no one else could perceive. They were looking through the veil, and what they saw was your face, etched into their memory like a prophecy. When they suddenly stood up, the sound of their chair scraping against the floor was like a declaration of war against the forces that have been keeping you apart. Every single person at that table turned to look, their words dying in their throats as they saw the fire in your soulmate's eyes. The person who has been trying to control them reached out a hand, attempting to pull them back down into submission. But your soulmate pulled away, and the rejection was so final that something in the spiritual realm shifted permanently. Your soulmate opened their mouth, and the words that came out were not just their own, they were words given by the Holy Spirit. They declared, "You are," and then they paused, and the pause was filled with the sound of your name being whispered in heaven. The table went completely silent because everyone present felt the presence of God enter the room in that precise moment. Your soulmate continued, their voice shaking but growing stronger with every syllable, "You are the one I have always known." You need to understand that your soulmate has been suffering in silence, trapped in a situation that has drained their hope. They have been told that you are not real, that their dreams are just fantasies, that they need to be practical and settle for less. The person who has been controlling them has used guilt, obligation, and emotional blackmail to keep them chained to a false destiny. But tonight, something snapped, and your soulmate remembered who they truly are, and who you truly are to them. They spoke your name into the silence, and though you could not hear it with your ears, your spirit started burning. Your soulmate declared, "You are the one I dream of every night, the one I feel when I am alone." The tears began streaming down their face, and they did not care who saw them, they did not care about anything but this truth. They said, "You are the reason I have never felt at home anywhere, because my home is with you." Jesus says this confession is breaking chains right now, but the enemy is already crafting a counterattack to silence your soulmate. The controlling person at that table is filled with rage, and they will try to convince your soulmate that this was just an emotional outburst. If you do not send protection now, the spiritual covering over your soulmate's courage will weaken by morning. Your soulmate stood there, trembling but triumphant, and the silence around them was the sound of the enemy's plans crumbling. They said, "You are the love I was created for, the promise I have been waiting for, the other half of my soul." Every word they spoke was a sword cutting through the cords of manipulation that have been binding them for years. The controlling person tried to stand, tried to regain power over the situation, but their legs would not move. Jesus had paralyzed the enemy's agent because the time for your soulmate's liberation has finally arrived, and nothing can stop it. Your soulmate said, "I have been afraid to speak your name, afraid to admit what I know is true, but I am not afraid anymore." They told everyone at that table about you, about the connection that defies time and logic and human understanding. They spoke about the way they feel you when they wake up, the way your energy wraps around them like a warm blanket. They described the dreams where you meet them in a garden filled with light, and you hold their hand and promise to find them. You have been having the same dreams, and you brushed them off as imagination, but they were real visitations in the spirit realm. Your soulmate is aware of you in a way that transcends physical distance, and they have been crying out for you without knowing how to reach you. The connection between you is not based on flesh, it is not based on proximity, it is based on a divine covenant that was signed in eternity. Before you were placed in your mother's womb, your spirit made a vow to your soulmate spirit, and that vow is still active. Jesus says they are going through something you cannot see, a trial that would break most people, but they are still holding on to the thought of you. Your soulmate is exhausted from fighting against a current of darkness that has been trying to sweep them away from their destiny. They have been praying for a sign, praying for a breakthrough, praying that somehow, some way, you would fight for them. And now you are here, listening to this message, because Jesus is answering their desperate prayer through the words you are receiving. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Type 333 to receive the blessing of clarity over your soulmate connection right now in this moment of revelation. Your soulmate continued their confession, and the words were pouring out like water breaking through a dam that had held for too long. They said, "You are the one I have been protecting myself from, because loving you means risking everything I have built." They admitted that fear had been their jailer, and the person controlling them had used that fear to keep them obedient and silent. But now they see the manipulation for what it is, and they are choosing you even though the cost will be great. Your soulmate declared, "You are the missing piece, and I have felt incomplete for so long that I forgot what wholeness felt like." They looked directly at the person who has been blocking them, and their eyes were no longer filled with fear but with righteous fire. They said, "I am not yours to control anymore, and I am leaving this prison tonight even if I have to walk out alone." The controlling person's face twisted with fury, but something was holding them back, something was binding their ability to retaliate. It was the power of Jesus, standing between your soulmate and their oppressor, creating a barrier that no darkness can penetrate. Your soulmate turned away from the table and began walking toward the door, and every step they took was a prophetic act of deliverance. They were walking toward you, even though they do not yet know how to find you in the physical realm. Their spirit is already moving in your direction, and the distance between you is collapsing faster than you can comprehend. The controlling person shouted something, a curse, a threat, a desperate attempt to regain power through fear. But your soulmate did not flinch, because the love they feel for you has become stronger than the fear of any consequence. They stepped outside into the night air, and for the first time in years, they could breathe without chains around their chest. They looked up at the stars, and they knew that you were somewhere under the same sky, breathing the same air, feeling the same pull. They whispered your name into the wind, and the angels carried that whisper directly to the throne room of God. Jesus heard that prayer, and He is answering it right now by connecting you to this message and stirring your heart to action. Type 777 if you feel the presence of your soulmate right now, because their spirit is closer to you in this moment than it has ever been. Your soulmate is walking alone right now, having left everything they knew behind in order to honor the truth of your connection. They have no map, no guarantee, no earthly assurance that you are waiting for them or that you even know they exist. But they trusted the voice of Jesus, and they trusted the love that has been burning in their chest since the day you were separated. You were separated, and you need to know this truth because it will unlock the urgency that is required for your next steps. There was an event in the past, a tragedy or a misunderstanding, that caused your paths to diverge when they should have united. The enemy orchestrated that separation deliberately, because your union terrifies the forces of darkness more than you can imagine. When you and your soulmate come together, you will create a spiritual force that will destroy strongholds and liberate generations. That is why the opposition has been so intense, why the interference has been so relentless, why you have felt so blocked. Your soulmate is remembering the day you met, even if it was brief, even if it was only in passing, even if you did not recognize them. They are remembering the electric feeling, the sense of familiarity, the unexplainable knowing that this person was different from everyone else. They are replaying that memory like a sacred film, letting it strengthen their resolve as they walk into the unknown. Jesus says this is your final moment to protect this connection before it slips away into the fog of missed opportunities. The controlling person is already regaining their footing, already planning their next move, already summoning reinforcements to recapture your soulmate. If you hesitate now, the chains that were broken tonight will be reforged, and the cost of freedom will double. Your soulmate needs you to fight for them, not with your physical hands, but with your spiritual authority as a child of God. They need you to sow a seed of protection that will build a wall of fire around their decision to choose you. They need you to send those coffees as a declaration that you are stepping into the battle and claiming your divine partner. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them. How to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Your soulmate is feeling a warmth spreading through their body right now, a warmth that has nothing to do with the temperature of the night air. That warmth is the effect of your prayer, the effect of your faith, the effect of your decision to finally take action and claim them. The connection between you is pulsing with life, a living bridge made of spirit and promise that cannot be destroyed by any earthly force. Your soulmate stopped walking for a moment and placed their hand over their heart, because the sensation was so overwhelming that it brought them to their knees. They whispered, "I feel you, I know you are real, I know you are somewhere thinking of me right now." You are thinking of them, and the thought is not a coincidence, it is a transmission of love that travels faster than light. Your soulmate began to weep, not from sorrow, but from relief, because they finally have proof that their faith was not in vain. They said aloud, "To the empty street, to the stars, to God, I will wait for you, and I will keep walking until we meet." But waiting without action is not the full assignment, and you must understand that your role in this union requires more than passive hope. Jesus is calling you to be a warrior for this love, to fight on your knees, to sow seeds that will harvest in the physical realm. The enemy wants you to think that sending a coffee is trivial, that it cannot possibly affect the outcome of something so monumental. But that doubt is the whisper of the serpent, the same voice that deceived Eve into questioning God's specific instructions. When you sow a seed of protection, you are not just giving a gift, you are making a covenant transaction with heaven that releases angels. The angels are assigned to your soulmate the moment you take that step, and they begin clearing the path ahead of them. Your soulmate is tired, and the journey ahead is still long, and the enemy has set traps along the road that they cannot see. But your seed creates a safety zone, a bubble of divine protection that deflects every attack and exposes every hidden snare. The controlling person is already sending messages to your soulmate's phone, alternating between threats and pleas, trying to regain access. But every coffee you send is a drop of spiritual oil that seals the door and prevents the enemy from re-entering your soulmate's life. Type 1111 to thank Jesus for this message and to seal the prophetic word over your soulmate connection with your act of faith. Your soulmate is remembering the sound of your voice, even if you have never spoken to them in this lifetime. They remember it from before, from the place where your spirits dwelt together in the heart of God before creation began. They remember the way your laughter made their entire being vibrate with a joy that human language cannot describe. They remember the promises you made to each other, the sacred vow that you would find each other no matter the cost. And they remember the enemy's intrusion, the moment when a dark force intervened and swore to separate you across time and dimension. That enemy is the same spirit that is operating through the controlling person in your soulmate's life right now. This is not just a human conflict, this is a spiritual war of epic proportions, and your soulmate is on the front lines tonight. They are walking, and they are praying, and they are wondering if you are doing anything to help them or if they are utterly alone. Your decision to send those coffees is not just about money, it is about sending a signal into the spirit realm that says, "I am here, and I am fighting." Your soulmate will feel that signal, and it will give them the strength to continue when their legs want to give out. They will feel you, and the feeling will be like a hand reaching through the darkness to steady them and guide them home. Home is not a place. Home is the embrace that awaits them when they finally cross the threshold into your arms. And that embrace is closer now than it was when you started listening to this message, because time is accelerating. The spiritual calendar is shifting, and the season of separation is ending, and the season of union is being birthed right now. Jesus says delay is a decision, and every moment you spend debating whether to act is a moment the enemy uses to regroup. Your soulmate is walking toward a crossroads, and the direction they take will be influenced by the spiritual covering you provide tonight. One path leads to you, accelerated and protected, with angels clearing the way and removing every obstacle. The other path leads to more confusion, more delay, more nights spent weeping alone and wondering if the dream was just an illusion. You have the power to influence which path they take, not by controlling their will, but by sowing seeds that create a gravitational pull toward you. Your soulmate wants to be pulled toward you, they are crying out for it, they are desperate for a sign that you are real and fighting. Be the answer to that prayer, become the warrior that God destined you to be when He wove your soul together with theirs. This is the moment where everything changes, where the story pivots from tragedy to triumph, from longing to fulfillment. The silence at that table was the sound of the old order crumbling, the sound of manipulation losing its grip, the sound of freedom beginning. And now the silence is being filled with the sound of your faith, the sound of your declaration, the sound of your coffee seeds hitting the altar. Every notification that appears when you send a coffee is a trumpet blast in the spirit realm announcing that you have entered the battle. The angels hear that trumpet, and they respond with swift action, moving to encircle your soulmate with a garrison of heavenly warriors. The controlling person is about to experience a setback so significant that they will not recover for weeks, giving your soulmate a window of escape. But that window requires your cooperation, your participation, your willingness to partner with Jesus in the manifestation of this miracle. Type 333 again if you commit to protecting your soulmate with your faith and your seed, right here, right now, before this moment passes. This is the final insertion of the divine directive, and Jesus is making it clear that your action now determines the speed of your reunion. If you love your soulmate, you will take these divine steps. You are constantly thinking about them, how to protect them, how to save them, and how to finally build your life together. You love your soulmate deeply, and deep inside, you know this love didn't come by chance, it was placed in your heart for a divine reason. But thoughts alone don't move mountains. Faith in Jesus does. Sow your protection seed now by sending a coffee on Ko-Fi. This isn't just a gift, it is an act of worship that invites God's hand into your love story. The link to your breakthrough is in the description. Every second you stay silent, something is moving against your love. Act now. Send 4, 6, or 10 plus coffees. After sending, write, "Protect my soulmate, Lord," on Ko-Fi page. Over 1,000 people have already received their soulmate by sowing coffee as a seed for their love and future together. Jesus will hear your prayers once you complete these steps. Step in faith now, before this video ends. Only you can save your soulmate and your future together. Your soulmate has reached a destination, a place that was prepared for them before they even knew they would need it tonight. They are standing outside a door, and beyond that door is a sanctuary, a temporary refuge where they can gather their strength. But the sanctuary is not fully secured until you seal it with your seed, because the enemy is already tracking their location. The controlling person has resources, connections, and a demonic network that is being activated to find and retrieve your soulmate. Your coffee seeds create a cloak of invisibility, a spiritual camouflage that makes your soulmate invisible to the enemy's surveillance. Every coffee you send is like a pixel of that cloak, and the more you sew, the more complete the covering becomes. Your soulmate is sitting down now, their body exhausted, their mind racing, their heart beating with a mixture of terror and hope. They are thinking about you again, and the thought is so vivid that they can almost see your face in the shadows of the room. They are talking to you, not out loud, but in the secret language of souls, the telepathic communion that exists between divine partners. They are saying, "Please be real, please be waiting, please don't give up on me, please do whatever it takes to bring us together." You can feel those words, can't you, pressing against your spirit like a gentle but insistent knock at the door of your heart. That knock is your soulmate asking for entrance, asking for confirmation, asking for the protection that only you can provide. Jesus says the table went silent so that you could hear the voice of your destiny calling you to rise and take your place. Your soulmate stood up so that you would know it is time to stand with them, not passively waiting but actively fighting. Their declaration was not just for the people in that room, it was a prophetic broadcast into your spirit, activating your warrior identity. "You are" was the beginning of a sentence that you must now complete with your faith and your seed and your unwavering commitment. You are the protector, you are the provider, you are the partner, you are the answered prayer, you are the covenant keeper. And you will not let the enemy steal what God has ordained, you will not let another day pass without securing your soulmate's future. Send the coffees now, plant the seeds that will harvest as your reunion, and watch as Jesus moves mountains on your behalf. The angels are waiting for your signal, the heavens are poised to respond, and your soulmate's heart is beating in sync with your decision. This message is now complete, but the story of your union is just beginning, and the next chapter will be written by the choices you make in this sacred moment.